Welcome to the Time Management Podcast with me, your host, Abigail Barnes. I'm a productivity coach, global speaker, time management author, and award-winning entrepreneur on a mission to share the 888 formula with the world and to remind you that it's your time. Leave it to me to bring you new time management tips, tricks, tools, and strategies, to introduce you to guests, research, and case studies from around the world, and to give you a simple 5-step process you can follow to uplevel your productivity, achieve your goals, and create a life that exceeds your wildest dreams. I'm so excited that you're here, so let's get started. Welcome to the show. It's you and me, and in today's episode, we are talking about 10 limiting beliefs that might be stopping you from being more successful than you already are. This week on the Time Management Podcast, we will be looking at the subconscious stories that could be keeping you stuck, the beliefs you're not even aware of that are making decisions for you on autopilot. This episode is for you if you're ready for reinvention. This episode is also for you if you're not prepared to keep living the same life on repeat. And this episode is definitely for you if you know there must be another way and you are prepared to give it a go. In this episode, let's dive straight in to why is change so difficult when we know so much more than people in the past, when we have so much more than people in the past, when we are so much more than people in the past. Why don't we do what we know we should? Why don't we do what we know we could? And why don't we do what we advise others to do? Well, the challenge certainly isn't understanding more. The challenge really is the lack of a plan. The challenge is the motivation to work it and to work it some more. Let's talk about these 10 limiting beliefs that could be silently stopping you from having the success that you want or being more successful. Limiting belief number 1, I don't feel ready to start. This one is such a classic that we at the first hurdle can get ourselves stuck behind. I don't feel ready to start is based on the assumption that there is a feeling that we need in order to start. But if you look back at your life, look at all of the many different things that you have done and try to see if you can find a feeling which pre-qualified you for doing the thing, you won't. So we will never feel ready to start. We simply have to start. Number 2, I don't have enough time. The reality that you're experiencing right now makes it seem that you don't have enough time. That is one of the ultimate reframes that you can use. You can also use this sentence, even though it feels like I don't have enough time, ... Because the truth is, if we were to look at your life, if somebody else were to parachute in, I bet you they could find time for you. And it's not because they're more intelligent than you, and it's not because they are better than you. It is quite simply because they are not attached to the things that you are currently attaching a need to spend, invest your time in right here, right now. So we have enough time, because let's be brutal. If somebody were to come up to you right now and say, come with me, you've just won £1 million, $1 million, $1 million yen, $1 million of whatever currency you would like, 1 million Bitcoin, you would put everything down and go with them. So it's not a question of not enough time. It's a question of not enough motivation. Number 3, I don't have enough money. Very similar to the time. It may be a truth right here, right now. But when we think about this, I don't have enough money. What do you have enough to be able to do as the next step? Sometimes we can get ourselves stuck in these loops where we believe that we need to have the millions already in order to be able to take the next step. We just need to take the next teeny tiny little step, and we have enough money to do that. And again, if somebody were to parachute into your life, they could help you find that. They could help you cancel a subscription. They could help you rearrange your finances. They could help you review your ingoings and your outcomings. They could help you to change your mindset about money, to look at your situation from a totally different point of view. Because some people actually have enough, but they have the feeling of not enough, which is the problem that's stopping them from moving forward. Limiting belief number 4, I don't have the right qualifications. Now, I've been there. I resonate with this one so much. In fact, today, can I tell you a secret? While I was doing the research to put together this podcast episode, because yes, I research every single episode, I suddenly found myself looking at what would it take to become a PhD level graduate in psychology. I found myself down a rabbit hole of 4 to 7 years of study to get a PhD. Now, this is something that I feel like I would like to do, but perhaps not in this lifetime. Perhaps it's something that I could find other ways to fill that hole, to fill that need, to learn that knowledge and information. Maybe I could start reading some books about it. Maybe I could go to some lectures on it. So perhaps I don't need to have a PhD in psychology. Perhaps you don't need that next certification that you think you need. Perhaps you have enough to take the next step. And this is the reframe that I would love you to take away from this episode today. I have enough to take the next step. And then once you've taken the next step, the path will unfold before you, and it will become apparent that maybe the skill set that is required in the project, the thing that you are doing, is that you need somebody who has that certification. So you bring that person in, you employ that person in your business, you add that person to your team, you take that person onto your board, whatever place you are in your career, your business, your life right now, there is an answer. And the answer isn't necessarily that you need to dedicate 4 to 7 years of your life to become a PhD level psychologist. That's me. Anyway, number 5, things like this don't work out for people like me. Do you have this limiting belief? Do you look at the people on the internet? Do you look at your friends? Do you look at your colleagues? Do you look at your peers? And do you find yourself telling this story, well, it's okay for them? Because if you are, you will be creating law of attraction, manifestation 101. You'll be attracting to you more proof that things don't work out for people like you. It will become a self-fulfilling prophecy, because it quite simply isn't true. And one of my mentors has a great line that they taught to us, and this was, if good things are going to happen, they're going to happen to me. And this is what I say to myself every single day. Why not me? If good things are going to happen, they're going to happen to me. So take that one on board as well. Number 6, I'm too old for this. It's too late. Who said there was a certain age? Who said there was the best age? For every single one of these limiting beliefs, I could ask ChatGPT, any of the other AI chatbots to find you proof. You could even do this for yourself, to find you proof of people who have done things at all sorts of ages. So the age card, the age excuse, is just quite simply irrelevant. And what you will start to learn from going through this exercise and hearing all 10 of these limiting beliefs is that they are other people's stories, and they are stories that you, that me, that we, that us are sharing and resharing and parroting and reparroting. because we are in this world right now of information overload. We are hearing the same things from the same people, and we're getting group think. We are starting to believe the things because somebody else told us, because a movie told us, because this is the theme. This then leads in to number 7. And number 7 is, I'm too young for this, it's too soon. So I'm too old for this, I'm too young for this. Two sides of the same coin. So you flick that coin, one side I'm too old, you flick that coin, the other side I'm too young. We are who we are. And when we start to accept that age is just irrelevant, age is just a number, and age isn't a limitation, and age certainly isn't something that we should be allowing to stop us from living the successful life that we want to be living, whatever success means for you. Then we have number 8. What if it doesn't work out and people will laugh at me? There's this great book at the moment out by Mel Robbins called Let Them. And the premise of this book is that it's not your business what other people think of you. Just let them. If they laugh at you, let them. But here's the other thing that is very, very funny. Although it's not really funny, but it is kind of funny when you think about it. The people you think who are thinking about you quite probably aren't thinking about you. They quite probably don't even know who you are. And if you were to ask them what they think about what you're doing, does their opinion even matter? I have a phrase in my business and life, and that is, if your opinion isn't paying my bills, the bank manager doesn't care. And what I mean by this is that opinions are just going to be everywhere, but equally they're not. Nobody is likely to know who you are. And if the opinions are coming from friends, it's coming from family, it's coming from peers, it's coming from people around you, those aren't opinions. That's actually bullying. And it's up to you, to me, to we, to us, to turn down the volume on them, to take the microphone away from them, because they are actually only reinforcing the fears, the worries, the anxieties that we have within us. When we start to believe it's possible for somebody like me, I've got this, I can do it, I am doing it, and we take it step by step by step, day by day by day, teeny tiny, inch by inch by inch, and we stop trying to think that it has to happen overnight. I don't know if you can actually find or name somebody who has miraculously stepped into the career that they have overnight, that didn't inherit it, that didn't win it, that weren't given it, that didn't marry into it, who actually had that overnight success. Because most overnight successes that I can find for you, of the mentors that I have worked with over the last 10 plus years, have all spent a long time learning and becoming. And it's not necessarily that they had to spend a decade to build their business to get it to where it was, because some of them have come into their business with experience. Some of them might have had a career before and they brought that experience to it. Some of them might have had a qualification before, a job before. So it doesn't necessarily mean that whenever we start something new, we are starting from zero. And that is such an interesting perspective to remember. When you start your next job, you are coming with the experience and expertise of your previous job. So when somebody works with me, they're not just working with me based on what I'm talking about right now. They're working with me based on decades of experience, probably coming up for 3 decades now, because I am bringing my childhood job experience from when I first started work. My first ever job was in a McDonald's cafe. I used to get on the train at 6 o'clock in the morning and get to open that cafe at 7 o'clock. And I used to be on my feet from 7 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, when that cafe then handed over to the person who did the night shift. And I did that every Saturday for months. And what I learned from doing that was discipline, persistence, consistency. And I also learned that it was possible and it was building a muscle. I learned what it looked like to do what you say you are going to do, because I showed up every single week, no matter what, whether I felt hungover, whether I felt ill, whether I hadn't had enough sleep. Now, back in the day, I was able to go to bed at 2:30, 3 a.m. and get up and be at that job for 7 a.m. Not sure that I would be able to do that right now. Also, I don't drink, so I would never be waking up with a hangover. But anyway, by the by, it is possible and you can do it too. And then we've got number 9. And this one is, what if it doesn't work out and people resent me? So again, two sides of the same coin. One side, what if people laugh at me because it doesn't work out? And then the other side, what if people resent me because it does work out? Again, the premise that we are living our lives for other people's opinions. If people pleasing is something that you struggle with, I highly recommend you go back in the podcast archives and find our episode about people pleasing. And in that episode, we talked about, is it a trauma response? Now, as a recovering people pleaser, I can say that it definitely is, in my opinion, and it is an opinion that's strongly held by many professionals around the world, that we learnt that people pleasing was a way to keep us safe, and then we just carried on doing it throughout our life. We don't have to keep on doing it anymore. If these people resent us because we're successful and they resent us because we're unsuccessful, do we even want them in our lives anymore? Do we even want them in our ears anymore? Maybe they need to be in our lives because they're family, but maybe we can turn down the volume. Maybe we can start to learn how to use boundaries. And then number 10, I'm scared. It's not the right time. I'll try again later. This limiting belief is based on that mythical fallacy that there is a right time, that we will have tomorrow to try again, and that we are going to not be afraid. Now, as we said earlier in number 1, I don't feel ready to start. That is very, very deeply tied to a fear and a feeling that we are ready. When we're scared, there is this feeling. We are never not going to be scared of doing something new. That is part of life. That is part of expansion. When we embrace that the feeling of fear is a confirmation that we are on the right path, we can start to reframe it in our heads, which then brings me on to the neuroscience of success, which absolutely blows my mind. But before I get onto that, wherever you're listening to this episode, leave a comment which of these 10 limiting beliefs you resonated with. I've talked about them before, and I am absolutely mind blown by the emails that come back from people. You can also email at inquiries@successbydesigntraining.com. Let me know what it is you have taken away from this episode, or you can find me on LinkedIn and drop me a DM over there. I love, love, love hearing what resonates from these 10 limiting beliefs, because once you have awareness to them, this will set you free. Self-awareness truly, truly, truly is the key to your next step, to your next level. Bringing me on to this neuroscience of success. Our brains consist of billions of neurons that form connections in there based on our thoughts, based on our behaviors. When we repeatedly engage in these behaviors, then these neural pathways in our brains strengthen and form habits. If we change our behaviors, the old connections that were there weaken and the new ones can form. This process is known as neuroplasticity. And if you've been around on the podcast for a while, you'll know that neuroplasticity is something I'm obsessed with since my brain injury, my near-death experience, my stroke in February 2012. I needed to know that the parts of my brain that had died were actually not dead. They were going to be able to rewire and still carry on doing different things. On our journey to achieving the goals that we have for our life, because if you're around here, if you're listening to the podcast, I'm assuming that you have goals for your life, you have hopes, you have dreams, you have things that you want. But these limiting beliefs that you are starting to become aware of have been stopping you from achieving them, from moving forward, have been silently sabotaging. Then here are 3 questions that you can journal on. And this is the homework for this week's episode. Question number 1. These are deep. So spend time deliberating them, spend time on them. Question number 1 is, who will you outshine? If you become the successful version of yourself that you know you are, that you know you can be, who will you outshine? Number 2, who will you intimidate? And question number 3, who will achieving your goals actually upset? Because this is where we start to go deeper and deeper and deeper. Now we've identified we have limiting beliefs. We can start to unpack and discover what's going on, what stories we're telling ourselves, who we're afraid to outshine, who we're afraid to intimidate, and who we're afraid to upset. And then bonus question, who will you be making wrong by doing things your way? Because when I'm working with people, with my clients, with my audiences, and even with myself, we start to uncover the beliefs about, but I have to do it this way. Says who? And when you ask yourself that question, says who, that answer will give you so much power. We don't achieve what we want. We achieve what we believe is possible for someone like us. We blame others for gaslighting us, but who's the common denominator in this story? If you want your results in your life to be different, then you'll need a new plan. You'll need a new story. You'll need new action steps. We deny our needs for discipline and structure because we hate to be told what to do. But we're not doing what we know. Do you get that early night when you need to, or do you stay up scrolling on social media? Do you go to that exercise class that makes you feel better, or do you blow it off again because you're too busy? Do you choose the healthier food option, or will you just start again tomorrow? No judgment here, but are you spotting the patterns, the common denominator? Who is the person making those decisions? In this episode, we've been talking about the things that might subconsciously be driving you, but once you've started to identify them, then it is time to take a new step if you want to start living the life that you came here to live. Which leads me on to Reset Your Success Story 2025, our brand new program this year, which starts on the 20th of February with a live masterclass training, which will be recorded for you to watch on demand at your convenience, because we appreciate everybody who listens to this podcast lives on a different time zone, has different circumstances and responsibilities. And this masterclass is going to be all about the theory and the practical exercises that you need to complete if you are ready to take this conversation from this episode today to the next level. In this program, you'll receive a comprehensive framework for success and a strategy for change. It has been meticulously crafted to transform your aspirations into reality. We've structured this experience into 2 dynamic phases. Part 1 is the masterclass, and this isn't your typical mindset session. We're diving into the shifts, both mental and strategic, that you need to unlock everything you've been striving for. Through a visualization exercise, you'll gain clarity and insights about your success goals, identity, and an elimination strategy for those obstacles like the ones we have been talking about today. And with the reset method, you will be able to design your personalized roadmap to success through structured goal setting and strategic planning exercises, ensuring a clear and actionable path forward. Then we have part 2, which is the 25-day sprint. This is where dreams remain dreams without actions. And here, with the sprint, we are providing an actionable plan paired with the accountability, ensuring that your goals don't just stay on paper, but they manifest in your life. Throughout our time together, you will discover how to transform your dreams into reality, implement daily steps that will bring your vision to life, and cultivate an unwavering motivation by developing consistency and resilience and building your success mindset. This program is the culmination of over 3 decades of my own personal experience. If you're new around here, you will know that I worked in finance for over 10 years. I had a near-death experience in 2012, and then I started my business in 2013. I bring to this program all of these experiences over the last 13 years since my near-death experience and building my business. I have worked with a huge number of coaches, trainers, and people around the world who have helped me reframe my mindset, create structures around what I believe is possible. And this is what I will be teaching you in this program. I will be drawing from the fields of neuroscience, quantum physics, as well as the universal spiritual laws. It's designed to meet you exactly where you are, providing the flexibility to proceed independently after part 1, or to amplify your results with the group support in part 2. So you will be able to just invest in part 1, the masterclass training, and you will be able to invest in the masterclass training and the 25-day group support as well, and buy the entire program. You'll have lifetime access to this, and you'll be able to consume it at your own pace. And the masterclass comes with Q&A as well. So if you can't attend live and you have any questions, you will be able to get your questions answered via email. All training sessions are available, as I've said, either live or on demand, allowing for you to engage with the content at your own pace, because it's your time to take decisive action. Your success story isn't just waiting to be written, it's waiting to be lived by you. And then finally, use the code podcast20 and get 20% discount when you sign up for this program, which will be available for a limited time. If you would like to find out how we could work together, there is an inquiry form in the show notes as well, and the link to sign up to the program is in the show notes too. Anything else that you would like to ask me about, if you would like me to do episodes about any other subjects, let me know as well. I love hearing from you. And until next time, my friend, stay safe, stay well, and remember, it is your time. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you loved what you heard, be sure to let me know by leaving a review so I can keep the good stuff coming. Come and say hi on Instagram at Success by Design Training, or visit my website, successbydesigntraining.com, or connect with me on LinkedIn. Just search Abigail Barnes. Until next time, don't forget, you are amazing and it's your time.